So today's video I will show you how you can create animation like this. And this is also the final episode of Edit Like 0x100x. So without wasting any time, let's get into the video. So alright guys, this is the reference video that we are going to recreate today. So let's start the editing process. So firstly select this ellipse tool and create a circle like this. And now simply go to this fill option and select this solid color and press OK. And use red color in your shape layer. So now firstly we rename our shape layer to circle. Now simply duplicate your circle shape layer and give a black color in your second circle. And also scale down the size like this. Now simply make a text layer and add a $sign, and let me increase the size of this text layer. And I'm trying to find a similar font and I got this SQL Sans font, and this one look is pretty similar, so I'll provide the font link in the description. So firstly let's place this in the center and then go to this fill option and change this yellow color to white color. And one thing you might have noticed, as per the reference, his animations looks more metallic, and also you might think he's using a gradient color in his animation, but it's not a gradient, it is basically light reflection. So let's see how we can make this in our animation. And now just simply select all of your layers and convert them into a 3D object, and always keep this one to advanced 3D and change one view to 2 view and select custom view 3. And don't worry, camera angles might seem tricky, but they are super helpful. So now you have two camera angles. The first one is your main view, which is your main camera angle, and the second one is your secondary view. Alright, so let's get into the animation part. Alright, so firstly I hide these two layers because we are going to work on our base layer. So firstly we need to add a depth in our shape layer. So go to this geometric option and then increase the value of extrusion depth, something like this. Now go to the material option and increase these settings. It depends on the shape layer, so you keep adjusting until you get a metallic tone. Now create a light layer and choose point light. Now simply position it to top left corner, and then go in your layer and go to this fill option and choose linear gradient, and then again go to the fill option and copy these color slabs. Now as you can see, here's a little highlighting area. So what we need to do is just simply select your shape layer and increase the intensity like this and change this to point. Now simply drag your light like this. Also you can play this radius and all these settings. And now simply duplicate your light layer and place your second light to this direction. You can simply drag this colorful arrows for giving position in your light layer. But here's the problem, when we rotate our shape layer, the light doesn't rotate with it. To fix this, we can parent link the light layer to the shape layer, kind of like this. And now it's aligned perfectly. So it will look like this. So what we can do is just simply select your second light and decrease the intensity, kind of like this. Alright, so what we need to do next is duplicate the light layers and position them in all directions to properly light the 3D shape layer. Like exactly what I am doing right now. Now once you've done this, just simply enable your second shape layer and create a null object and parent link all of your layers to the null layer. And convert this to a 3D object as well. Now you're able to control all of your layers. One more thing is you might face similar problem while you using 3D object, like as you can see a little jittery effect coming out in your second layer. So for fixing this, just simply drag this Z position like this, and now the problem is solved. But we also need to add depth in our second layer. So for adding depth, we just simply apply the similar method. So we will simply increase the extrusion value of our second shape layer as well, and now it will look like this. So we apply the similar method to our $sign, simply drag it like this, and again increase the extrusion depth as well. Now once you've done all of these things, your coin will look like this. And now tilt your coin like this. Now simply select all of your layers, then copy and paste them And now you have two coin layers. Now place both of these at the center by using your null layer. Now our jar is almost ready, just we need to add a glass kind of thing in the middle. Alright, so for adding a transparent glass, we just simply duplicate our base layer and place it to the top of our layers. And enable the stroke option and choose a white color. And also disable this fill option. It will look like this, but don't move it cause the extrusion depth will start from the bottom up. But firstly let me fix these mistakes. Alright, so simply increase the extrusion depth. And yeah, I made a mistake here because my shape layer is in the middle, but make sure to start the extrusion depth from the bottom. So I will simply move it to the bottom and decrease the stroke amount to 1 pixel. And now simply increase the extrusion depth until you touch the top layer. And now go to the contents, then ellipse one, and then stroke option, and click this plus icon and increase the amount of dashes, something like this. And then simply decrease the opacity of your layer. And now here you can see it will look like a transparent glass. And our glass is ready. You can play with the amount of dashes until you get a perfect touch. Now our jar is completely ready. We just need to add a character in the middle of our jar. So we just add another null object and parent link all of your null layer to the new null object. So now you can easily able to control all of your layers. Alright, so next thing is create a shape layer like this and go to this fill option and use this radial gradient option and press OK. And then go to this fill color option and copy this color palette. Now here you can see a color midpoint. Simply drag him like this. Now here you can see another midpoint. Simply drag it like this. Then select your shape layer and go to this blending option and change the blending to color dodge. And then place it right here. And then simply squeeze him like this. Now simply duplicate your shape layer and place it to the another side. Exactly like this. This is basically create a sign effect in our animation. And this time we are going to create a character, so simply create a circle shape layer. Then go to this fill option and choose radial gradient and then add a gradient like this. Your first color should be black color and your second color should be a blood red color like this. And select this color midpoint and drag it like this. Now right click your shape layer and go to this layer style option and add a inner glow. Then go to this inner glow setting and increase the size like this and change color to a white color. And also add a noise something around 3 to 4% and also play with the opacity. It's a subjective thing, so it's all up to you. And let me drag this midpoint little bit more, kind of like this. And I feel black color is too dark, so we just simply change the black color to a dark red color. Something like this. I think this one looks good. So yeah, simply duplicate your shape layer and this one is our character body. So we just simply place it right here. Simply increase the size of your shape layer and squeeze it like this. Then go to this layer style option, then inner glow and increase the size of your inner glow like this. And also drag this anchor right here. Now simply create a pre-comp of this layer and then select this rectangle shape and create a mask like this. Now just increase the feather value, something like this. Now simply move this little above. Now select both of your layers and make another pre-comp. Now simply adjust this in the middle of your jar. So this time we are going to create a background, so add a solid layer and add a effect called gradient ramp. So now simply change the end color to a red color. Now simply set this anchor point to these corners, like that I'm doing right now. So you just need to do is simply try to create a gradient background while dragging these anchor points until you get a perfect gradient that you are looking for in your background. After this, simply drag down your layer at the bottom. Now simply select these two sign shape layer and parent link them to the main null object, and also convert your character into a 3D object. And this time I go back to my glass shape layer and give it a little rotation because it's create problem to our character layer. Now our characters look perfect. Now add a adjustment layer. Then add a effect called deep glow. Set the exposure to the 0.01%. Then go to this input option and change both of these setting to 50%. Alright, so we are going to add a face in our character layer. So for adding eyes we can use ellipse tool. So just simply select this ellipse tool option and create a small dot like this and choose fill option to solid and change the color to white. Now simply duplicate this and place it here as a second eyes. Now add another ellipse tool, but for this time enable the stroke option and disable the fill option. Go to this add button and add a trim path. Now try to create a sad face, something like this, while using this start and end keyframes. Now simply rotate the offset like this. And position it properly. Now add a null object and select this shape and parent link them to the null layer. Now I feel increase the little bit exposure of our deep glow. I think this look good enough. So let's back to our character layer. Now simply animate your character face expression while using position keyframes, and right now I am giving a randomly animation like this. Now once you done this, just simply select all of your keyframes and press F9 in your keyboard and give it a easy ease. After this, go back to your main menu, and I feel I need to add more lights in our animation, so that's why I duplicate the lights and adding more lights in different location, but it's optional because it's all up to you. If you think you need more lights, so you can definitely do this. So for adding animation, simply enable all the keyframes and drag this Y rotation like this. Simply move your time indicator and set the Y value to 0 and use X rotation to scale up your animation like this. Now simply select all of your keyframes and make a easy ease while pressing F9 in your keyboard. I gave you a simple way to animate your animations while using keyframes, but you need to adjust your keyframes by yourself because it depends on the animation. Sometimes keyframes might feel fast and sometimes slow, so my point is always try to adjust keyframe according to your animation. That's why I always try to change keyframe position until I get a smooth animation. Like for this scenario, the animation is too slow, that's why I drag keyframes more closer, so we get a little fast animation. Now it will look like this. As you can see, the sign effect is not moving with the animation because our sign layer is not a 3D layer. So what we can do is simply trim the layer where it's not needed, like the starting part. Let me increase the more exposure in deep glow so we get a glowing effect in our animation. Now add a ellipse shape layer like this and set a white color. Now add a effect called Gaussian blur. this one, and remove this check mark and increase the blurriness something around 300%. And then drag your shape layer to the bottom and simply increase the size of your layer and adjust him like this, and decrease the opacity something around 50%. By the way, it's depend on the animation. And give me few seconds, let me adjust it properly. And voila, your animation is complete. Let's see how it will going to look. And that is for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.